Welcome back to MTandME.
And we're bringing you two new shows this week. The first one being The Accused.
And the other one's going to be Shrinking on Apple TV.
The first show we're going to talk about today is The Accused on Fox. Recent release. It's got a lot of great reviews so far.
Ratings look really good. It's off to one of the highest rated new shows of the new season.
Yeah, it's an anthology series. So I like that. How you can there's no catching up for any of the episodes. You can jump right in at almost any time and be right there in the mix of what's going on weekly.
And the first episode was a pretty good way to kick off the series. It stars Michael Chiklis and Jill Hennessy as parents trying to decide if their son needs some help.
Yeah, to say the least. Holy moly. Yeah, it's a very sensitive topic. I was very shocked to see them kind of tackle this kind of a topic for a TV show, especially on primetime local TV, or not local, but like primetime TV. It deals with school shootings, and so I was like kind of taken aback about like, whoa, like I'm surprised that any show is taking this on as a topic to show on the show, especially to premiere the first episode with it.
Lots of twists and turns, though, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it, is it's definitely not what you expect. You start watching it, and you think it's going one way, and then it kind of takes a turn on you. So it's definitely one you have to watch. I tell you, I'm always impressed with Michael Chiklis. He's been around now for 30 years. I remember his first acting job in The Commish back in the 90s, and then The Shield. Did you watch The Shield? The Shield was on early 2000s. I thought he was old when he did The Commish, and I actually found out that he was 28 years old when he took his first job playing a 40-year-old.
He's just one of those faces, I guess. And no hair, one of those faces kind of looks a little aged.
I think he looks the same.
I've never seen any of his shows in the past, but looking at him now in this show, I was like, he looks exactly the same as what I've seen the commercials from.
I think he was the original. Wasn't he the original Thing in Fantastic Four too?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
And then
which is a big flop.
It was. The second episode of The Accused takes place. It involves a deaf child and a surrogate mother trying to get the baby back, and it's got a great performance by Lauren Ridloff. I know a lot of people know her from The Eternals and Walking Dead. A great deaf actress.
Yeah. Who's she in The Walking Dead?
She is Connie.
Connie. Oh, surprised you know that.
No, surprised I know something
about
The Walking Dead? Wow. Okay.
But yeah, no. It's another. All these so far, these episodes just tackle these topics and make you see them in a way that you probably hadn't thought about looking at them before. They talk about having the cochlear implants in deaf people's heads, and whether it's ethical or not to have the daughter, that's a baby, a brand new baby, have the implant surgically put in her head. So whether it's do the parents have the right to modify their child in that way, so early on without the child's consent, not waiting, and they just delve into this topic and what's right and what's wrong, which I found really interesting. And I thought, the actress that played the surrogate mother, she did phenomenal, and I really felt her emotional connection with the daughter that's not hers, but that she carried for 9 months, and her wanting just to protect the child. I really like that episode a lot. For the show, it's
definitely. I mean, both episodes have been pretty hot topics, and they've been very interesting. They've absolutely kept my interest. So I'm curious to see where they go next. I know they've got a lot of great new stars that are in the lineup. Rachel Bilson, I think, is going to be in the next episode. Abigail Breslin's going to be in one. So you've got a lot of great stars that are going to be headlining some of these standalone episodes.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's a good show. So
what would be your score for it?
My final score for that would probably be a 7 out of 10.
I'm going 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I would say that The Accused probably is, if you as a parent would like to watch this show with your children and you're watching it with them and you can explain and have those conversations with them as you're watching it, it definitely doesn't have profanity or nudity, but there are definitely some controversial topics that you would need to explain with your children.
Yeah, it's definitely viewer discretion advised, especially on the first episode. Like I said, it talks about a heavy topic about school shootings. But yeah, this one I would not recommend it for any kid under 15 years old. This is definitely an adults more orientated show.
I agree. Teenage and above. Teenage and above.
Yeah.
The second show that we're going to talk about this week is Shrinking on Apple TV.
Apple TV, yeah. Yeah, Bill Lawrence. I love his content. I love his shows. Going back to Scrubs is my favorite show of all time. We could talk about that at length at another time. But yeah, with him coming out with Ted Lasso and then now Shrinking, I'm enjoying Shrinking. It's to me, it's definitely it's a little bit different how he's, kind of organizing how he's introducing the characters and how he's um, moving the story forward. Like it's like they kind of just giving it to you piecemeal. They're not giving you all the characters all at once. They're kind of like in the first episode, he sees his friend, but they don't really explain anything until the second episode about how it's all tied together. And there's still some kind of mystery around their relationship and why Jason Segel, his character, isn't as close as he once was with his friends. So they got to figure that out as well.
Right. And the show does deal obviously with, it's the death of his wife and he's raising his daughter. So you've got all that element involved too. And I have to say, my favorite part of this show is because it has my favorite actor in it, Harrison Ford. And I just have to tell you, I am so impressed with Harrison Ford and his comic timing. You don't really think of comedy when you think of Harrison Ford. And for me, he does a great job. He makes me laugh quite a lot.
Harrison Ford, his movies, Lost the Raiders and Star Wars, he's had some pretty funny moments in those movies, But yeah, traditionally you don't think of him as a comedy actor, but yeah, no, I think he's done a really good job of bringing some comedy to the show. And again, there's some mystery around his character in relation to Jason Segel's character, where they kind of make you think that he's related to him in some way, but then again, you don't. And the daughter knows where he lives, and when Jason Segel says earlier in this episode of the show that he's never been to his house before, so there's a lot of weird things how the pieces just don't seem to fit together neatly in the first couple of episodes.
Hopefully they connect as we continue on.
Yeah.
But I do like that it's about psychiatrists. I think it's the first show that I've seen, Shrinking, obviously that's the premise, about those characters, and I think they do a good job. I know that you mentioned Lawrence, but I also want to say Brett Goldstein is also a big part of this show too.
Yeah.
And, also Brett Goldstein writes on Ted Lasso and even stars on Ted Lasso. He plays Roy Kent, and he is also the co-writer, director, and creator of Shrinking as well.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, and it's definitely not for children.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, there's a lot of, since there's less restrictions on Apple TV, there is some for profanity. There are some implied sexual situations. So yeah, it definitely isn't for the kids. Again, we would not recommend having the kids watching it with you.
What would you give it as a rating?
I would give it a final rating of I would say like an 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
I'm really
He's higher than me. That never happens.
Yeah, well, so far. And the movie we saw this weekend is A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks always does an amazing job. I think this is another terrific movie. Plot kind of is something that you've probably seen before. I don't think it's anything new or original, but it is an adapted screenplay. It's based on a book, A Man Called Otto. And if you read the book A Man Called Otto, I think you'll really enjoy this because the movie and the book correlate very well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a classic Tom Hanks film. You love this character from the beginning to the end. And it's got a lot of heart in the movie. It's just like, classic Tom Hanks all the way from, start to finish, Yes.
A little bit of a heavier duty topic because it does deal with some suicide issues. So warning for the children. I do think it is definitely a family-friendly movie, but you are going to have some of those conversations with your children if you decide to let them watch this. There were some great performances, some really good performances in this movie that I was surprised by. I had never heard of Mariana Trevino before. She was a new actress to me. I thought she did a fantastic job as his neighbor. They kind of had to get him to come around and change a little bit. And her husband was played by Manuel Garcia Rolfo, who, if you have seen the new show The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix, that was him. And I was shocked that he was in this too.
No, yeah, he did a great job. I have not seen The Lincoln Lawyer, but I loved how he was just like this clumsy husband of a character of a husband. And, he climbs that ladder and he falls off. Yeah. He breaks his leg and, he can't back the car up into the parking spot. No, I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, no, the standout parts for me in that movie was the story with Otto, Tom Hanks' character, and his wife. There's a scene where they're in a restaurant and he can't afford to pay for her meal, and he's embarrassed by it. And instead, of letting him walk away embarrassed, the female character that plays his wife grabs him and kisses him, and that I was like, oh, that's super sweet, and that just really stood out, and I could kind of relate to that.
And another reason that scene stood up to me is because in all of the amazing career that Tom Hanks has had, this is the first time that his own son has ever played him, and his son played him in the younger version of himself, and he did a terrific job. And I feel bad that I forgot his name, but last name Hanks. And he is his,
hopefully,
and he is his son, and he does a really good job. So it's kind of nice to see his own son playing him in flashbacks.
I didn't even know that was his son until you said that right now. I should have. That's funny, but no, yeah, I just thought the whole sequence of the flashbacks, all of those sequences, and Tom Hanks would re-dialogue all of his past memories out loud. And so then they would tie that together with the actual memory of the flashback of his relationship with his wife.
And I know you liked, I think, the guy from the Umbrella Academy. Didn't you like his?
Yeah. Cameron Britton, I believe is his name. He was in the Umbrella Academy. He was in Mindhunters, which I was sad to see that Netflix canceled because I loved Mindhunters. I just love the whole dynamic of just chasing down serial killers and everything with that.
I also think this is a movie that's going to be around for a little while. You might want to get out to the box office and see it. It's made about $50 million right now, which is pretty good. I'm sure Tom Hanks has some bigger blockbusters than this. In fact, I'm going to ask you a question right now, put you on the spot. What is your favorite Tom Hanks movie of all time? And you can't say Toy Story.
Oh, I was about to say maybe Joe versus the Volcano. No, I'm just kidding. Probably Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is... I love that. I can watch that movie if it's on any time of the day. If it's flipping through the channels and it's halfway over, I'll still catch it and watch most of it. So there's so many one-liners from that movie, Bubba and everything.
Yeah, I think he has so many iconic roles. I mean, he's played everything from Sully Sullenberg to Walt Disney to Mr. Rogers. I really liked his performance as Mr. Rogers. I really liked him in Apollo 13. As well as going all the way back to Big. I think to me, Big is that classic movie for Tom Hanks that whenever it's on, I find myself watching it again.
Yeah.
So, and then even in recent years, I was a little disappointed that he wasn't nominated for an Academy Award for Elvis, because I know everyone's like, Austin Butler's so amazing. Well, for me, the movie wouldn't have been anything without Tom Hanks.
Right. No. Yeah. Tom Hanks just brings another level to any movie. But yeah.
Agreed.
And what's your favorite Tom Hanks movie? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know if we're wrong on our recommendations, if maybe we missed a movie. Just thinking off the top of my head, I know it's a random one, but That Thing You Do. If you have not seen That Thing You Do, is a Mercado family favorite. And he plays one of the music producers for that movie. So.
And I know that my wife would be very disappointed if I did not mention A League of Their Own, because that happens to be one that she loves as well. So.
Tom Hanks has too many movies.
He does.
He's in so many things. You can talk
crazy.
about the list of movies he's been in for hours on end.
Speaking of this movie really quick, A Man Called Otto, before we have sign off here, what would you give it as a rating?
I would give this one probably like an 8. An 8.
I think I'm going to match it. I think I'm going to say 8 too.
Yeah.
So 2 8s for A Man Called Otto. So you make sure you check it out.
And a family-friendly rating, I'd probably give it, probably like a 6. I mean, it is PG-13, so you can bring kids to it. There isn't anything too wild in the movie to where I would say, keep the kids at home. But yeah, it does deal with some heavy subjects about, like you said, suicide.
I agree with that. I think maybe teenagers would be a 7 or an 8, because I think I would hate to see them miss out on something that's got these layers. And there is a character in this movie as well that's a teenager. So
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie.
Check it out, everybody.
Check it out.
I heard that Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Matthew McConaughey wanted to make a movie together. Did you hear that?
I did not.
Tom Hanks wanted to direct. Leo said that he would produce. And Matthew McConaughey said, all right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You could forget days and confused. Yeah. But yeah, if you like this video, again, thanks for sticking with us to the end of the show. Like and subscribe. We are climbing. We posted this all to our friends and family. So thank you, friends and family, for supporting this first episode and hopefully supporting our second episode here. And we will see you next time. Say bye.